Hi, my name is Emon. I put together a little slideshow hopefully you guys can enjoy while I give my speech. Prasad Banerjee is my uncle, and I call him Mesho. Him and Mashi are the closest extended family that I have. I'm fairly certain everyone watching this knows how much of a saint Mesho was. I mean, the man literally dedicated his life to service. And most people tuning in have likely experienced that firsthand in some way or another. But I feel it's important to talk about a side of him that I knew that people may perhaps not be so familiar with. Growing up, I was never really a religious person. Of course, the cultural grammar of my life was rooted in Hinduism, as we are born into many of our beliefs. But as I got older, I didn't really identify or subscribe to religion. In undergrad, I took a few religious studies courses and I would talk to Mesho about it. I explained to him, Mesho, religion is crazy. Look at all the holy wars. There's this concept of the chosen people, heretics. There's so much sexism, classism, even with current events today, etc. And believe it or not, he wholeheartedly agreed with me. And that's because he was cerebral. He was able to separate the dogma from religion and contextualize it holistically as somewhat of a moral guide. He understood religion as a sense of community and a connection with spirituality. And that's exemplified by his life's work. He was one of the founders of Kalibari. He did countless weddings, funerals, baptisms. And that's because he knew people wanted him to be the one to bless them. And you just felt that you were being spiritually healed if you were around Mesho. And it wasn't just him. Mesho and Mashi were a little power couple super team. If Mesho was the conductor, then Mashi was the orchestra. My uncle was a critical thinker. He was an engineer, he believed in science, and contrary to the stereotype of older generations, he espoused progressive values. He celebrated diversity, he valued perspective, and he never thought that his way of thinking or his religion was more virtuous than others. In fact, he volunteered at the hospital administering the last rites for multidisciplinary faiths, and he took pride in that. But of course, he wasn't prideful, because you all know that there was no sense of ego about him. Mesho had a sense of humor. He was always joking with me. I still remember when I was 7 or 8, I never knew his name. We just knew him as Mesho. And his name is Parvati Prasad Banerjee. So one day I saw a piece of his mail and it said PP Banerjee. And I was like, Mesho, your name is PP? And he's like, what am I going to do? That's what they named me. And, he was always trying to make us laugh. Mesho was also sentimental. I won some tournament in college when Mesho was visiting me, and the prize was this UCLA hat and jacket, and I gave it to him. And every few years, whenever I'd see him, he would always be wearing that same hat and jacket. And after 5 years, it was ridiculously tattered up, as if you'd found it in a dumpster, but he still wore it everywhere. And I'd like to think that's because it meant something to him. And he was like that way with his family. He really did seem happiest when he was around family, and not just his immediate family, but his extended family. And I'd personally like to thank his Toronto family, because you really are what fulfilled him in his life. I'm grateful for the time I got to spend with my uncle. He taught me how to fish, he was my pen pal when I was playing abroad, and he showed me how to be a true humanitarian. He loved Isha, he loved Kelly, he loved his 2 sons, and he loved his wife dearly. Mesho, you are a legend. Your presence will eternally be ubiquitous in the hearts of everyone you've touched. I love you, and I will miss you forever. Yeah. Okay, now go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now Mashi, your turn.
Mashi, ready? Oh. Okay, ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3.